Hello and welcome to the Saturday Morning Huddle, week number 3. Kenny Rhoda alongside John Bozika, recapping what went down in week number 3 of high school football in and around Stark County. And John, first of all, hard to believe we're done with week 3 already, looking ahead to week 4, right?
It is. It's crazy. We were talking about that during the start of our stream broadcast last night, just how every year we joke about that. And we're like, well, it's hard to believe it's week 4. And then before you say, you're like, it's hard to believe it's week 10. So, yeah, but another great night of high school football in the county. So many interesting storylines from last night that came out of the evening, and got some great coaches joining today. And just, I'm really excited about this show. We kind of got some coaches that we normally don't get on either. So that's kind of cool as well. And yeah, week 3, and there's some undefeated teams left, and there's some teams that suffered that first loss last night. So we'll get into all of it.
Let's give some love to our sponsors right out of the gate. Akron Auto Auction.com. Chad Bailey and his staff, thanks for being a part of the Huddle. Marianne Donuts, our sweet play of the week. We'll have that for you a little bit later on. Our Community One Credit Union player of the week. He had a huge night. You'll have to stay tuned to later in the show to find out who that is. DeHoff Realtor, Ty Colucci, and Dirty Hands Excavating and Restoration are sponsors for the 2025 season of high school football here on the Saturday Morning Huddle in and around Stark County. Also, you mentioned the coaches. Tuslaw head coach Brock Dial going to join us. Alliance head coach Tim Goodman will be on the show for the second week in a row. Minerva, they get a win. Zach Slates is a happy man, and he'll be back with us today. And East Canton head coach Spider Miller will join us. And, John, we've got some players that are going to join us as well, because Spider is going to bring somebody with him this week after being on with us last week.
He is. He's going to bring Owen McCroskey to the Huddle, which, again, you'll find out more about Owen as the show goes along. Brock Dial going to bring 2 of his players, Ethan Hare, their quarterback, and their running back linebacker, Nate Eberhardt. Tim Goodman going to bring the quarterback, J.R. Jackson. Excited to hear from J.R. in the season he's gotten off to. Nate Linkus going to join us from Minerva. Had a good night last night, too. He and Timmy Kirkpatrick make a pretty formidable duo in that wing T offense. And then, as I said, Owen McCroskey going to join us from Spider Miller's East Canton Hornets. I want to say, too, 2 notes to get in mind.
All right.
The first time since 2005 that East Canton starts 3-0, and the first time since 2013 under Mike Hall that Minerva is 2-1 and above 500. It has been 12 years since Minerva has been above 500, but 1 year, 3 games in for Zach Slates, and my fellow Greek gets the job done.
Opa, and we'll talk to him about that and the exciting season they're having to this point. Let's give you all the scores. You can watch on the bottom of the screen as we roll through these, but we'll give you all the scores. Then we'll start looking at some highlights from our games and breaking things down a little bit more intently. We'll start. Lake beats Rocky River yesterday, 34-28. That was our radio game of the week. I'll have highlights for you on that one coming up shortly. Perry is 3-0 as they beat Harding 25-15. Jackson gets Lucas Eckerman back, but they suffer another loss to St. Francis out of New York. The final there was 42-35. Hoover shuts out Akron North 65-0. It was Rabun Gap out of Georgia, 50, Massillon 35. Massillon 1-2 to start this season. Louisville beats Northwest 10-3. The Leopards are a perfect 3-0 under head coach Chris Kappas. Northwest falls to 1-1. Alliance, no trouble with Streetsboro, an impressive win, 46-13. Alliance now 2-1. They bounce back from their loss against Louisville. Marlington 38, Howland 20. Cam Evanich with a big game in that effort for the Dukes. 3 touchdowns rushing, 2 touchdowns receiving. Minerva, as you mentioned, shuts out Springfield 34-0 to improve to 2-1. Central Catholic now 0-3, unfortunately, as they lose to Orville 28-7. Fairless a loser yesterday for the first time this year. They lose to Claymont 7-6. They had an extra point blocked, and they lose because of it. Tuslaw beat Caldwell 43-20. Tuslaw now 2-1 on the year. Canton South 1-2 on the season because they fell to Akron East yesterday 27-20. East Canton a perfect 3-0 after a 47-27 win in the Valley as they take down the Cardinals of Sandy Valley. St. Thomas 0-3 on the year. They lose to Tuskegee Central Catholic 20-6. And we've got two games today involving Stark County teams. Glen Oak will take on Cleveland East Tech at 12 o'clock, and McKinley battles Cleveland Heights at 7 p.m. And those are part of the Hall of Fame Classic at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. So there's a look at all the scores from in and around Stark County in week number 3. And John, let's go to my game, if you don't mind. We'll start things off with what we thought was going to be a great game involving two teams that were 2-0. Rocky River coming to Lake. Rocky River putting up some serious points on the year. Rocky River had outscored their opponents 107-13 in their first two wins, and Lake had outscored their opponents 97-33. So combined 214-46. So these two heavyweights were going at it yesterday at Blue Streak Stadium, and it turned out to be a heck of a contest as Lake wins at 34-28. As you get a look at some of the highlights here, this game combined for 62 total points, 722 total yards. And the key to this game, John, I guess you could say, was the return of Davis Matson. He had missed the first 2 weeks of the season after recovering from a appendectomy. And so he was out for the first two contests, and that didn't slow down Lake. But getting him back proved to be crucial in this contest because Alex Squire, who is the starting quarterback for Lake, had a big game as he was running it and throwing it all over the field. But they would lose their Swiss Army knife, if you will. Tied to George had combined throwing, running, intercepting, punt returns for touchdowns for 10 TDs the first 2 weeks for the Lake Blue Streaks. And early in this contest, Ty DeGeorge goes down with a severe ankle injury. He could miss the rest of the season. We hope not. But in talking to Dan DeGeorge after the game last night, they feared his ankle was broken. You see him here on the crutches on the sidelines in the second half of this contest. So, our thoughts and well wishes go out to Ty DeGeorge for a speedy recovery. The good thing is, if it is a severe injury and he doesn't play again this year, John, he is junior, right? So he could come back for his senior year next year, but he was having such a big season for Lake, and to see him go down, and I can't imagine the emotions, the feelings that Dan DeGeorge was dealing with, right? You're the head coach and your son goes down with an injury. Normally as a dad, you want to go be with him and, help him get through the evening, but you can only do that for a little bit because you got to go back and coach the game. And, Dan handled it, I thought, as well as could be, but he was a little emotional after the game in talking to him about it. So that's a big blow for a Division II school like that, John, right? When you lose the running back, wide receiver, defensive back, punt returner, and sometimes quarterback.
Well, and it's right on the eve of the week where they play a 3-0 Perry, too, coming to their place this coming week. So they come out of a big matchup with Rocky River, kind of a nice playoff test for them to see kind of where they stand when it comes to what their hopes are as the year goes along, and they lose Ty DeGeorge. And, you hope he's able to come back. I think the big story of the night was the fact that Davis Matson comes in, rushes for 160 yards, catches a couple of passes. You saw the one he caught over the middle of the field, as you said, on a key fourth down early in the game. So, I know, just like any other coach in the county, I know Coach DeGeorge is going to tell you next man up, and the players are going to think next man up as well. But look, when you lose a guy that scored 5 touchdowns just a week ago, that's like trying to replace LeBron James on the 2016 Cavaliers. You're looking for a guy that does not exist on the roster. And Alex Quire has big game experience. Davis Matson has some from last year, but it seemed like Ty DeGeorge took the reins and became that Charlie Christopher for the team this year. So who's going to be that guy now that he's gone? You hope it's just a bad sprain, but
it's not, John. Trust me on that when I tell you that. It's not from everything that we talked to Dan about and others about. It's a severe injury. It's going to keep him out for most of the season, if not all the season. But Davis Matson comes back after the appendectomy, had a chance to catch up with him after the game. Big game for Davis, 26 carries, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 catches, 27 yards. Here's our post-game interview with our Old Carolina Barbecue player of the game, Davis Matson. First of all, congratulations. You're our Old Carolina Barbecue player of the game, so you got some dinner, courtesy of HBC and Old Carolina Barbecue. 26 carries, 2 catches, so that's 28 touches in your first game. How were you able to handle that load in your first game back after the appendectomy?
Yeah, I was definitely stuck in wind that first half, but I think I caught my second wind at halftime. And Ty getting hurt in the first half, I knew that I had to step up and fill his shoes and my shoes in my first week back.
How were you able to, I guess, stay ready for this game physically when you have an appendectomy like that? And you said you were sucking wind a little bit, but you looked in great shape. How were you able to do that the last couple of weeks?
I couldn't do anything my first week after surgery, but the second week, every day at practice, I slowly ramped up my jogging, and I think that played a big part in being able to do what I did today.
How did you guys find a way to win this? Because it looked like you were in control. They come back, but you guys made enough big plays to get the win. What was the key?
We thought at halftime, I think that we just thought we were going to come back out and roll and they were going to roll over, but that wasn't the case. And after they put up those 2 scores, we definitely had to mentally lock back in. I got on the O-line a little bit and everybody else, and they really stepped up. We saw your dad up in the press box at halftime. He was thrilled with what you did in the first half. But down the stretch there, how much did you want the ball to make Dad proud, your coach proud, and seal the victory by running out the clock? It's a little selfish, but I definitely wanted that ball every single play. They couldn't stop the run, and that's what we did all game.
Congratulations on the win on our Old Carolina Barbecue player of the game. Best of luck this season. Good to see you back.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. And big game for him, and they needed that last night with Ty DeGeorge going down. Let's hear from Dan DeGeorge, the head coach from Lake, real quick here in our post-game interview, talking about the big victory, but also losing one of his key players that happens to be his son, Ty DeGeorge. Here's Dan DeGeorge, Lake head coach, after their big win. A hard-fought win. You win by 6. What was the key there in that second half after they stole the momentum back from you? You guys found a way to win.
Yeah, just a back-and-forth game, and I give our kids credit, man. They found a way to win. It wasn't pretty. It was really ugly at times, actually, but we won the football game. So I think in the fourth quarter we got a couple first downs. We finally started blocking up front a little bit more consistently, and our kids found a way to win. So just real proud of that. I'm curious, coming into this with Matson playing his first game this year, were you planning on giving him the ball 26 times tonight? No, the plan was to split it up between him and Ty play a bunch of tailback and receiver as well. And, Ty went down, we had to move on, and Davis did a great job coming back like he knew he would. 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. What's that say about how he prepared, even though he was recovering from the appendectomy? Yeah, man, he just wanted to be out here, you know what I mean? And we missed having him. So it's nice to have him back. So he's going to carry the ball a lot. How serious is Ty's injury? Do you know? Yeah, we think it's broken. So that's all we know at this point. Boy. So, but man, next guy up. So we got to move forward. And now you start Fed League play. You're 3-0. You go into the Federal League. How important is it to carry this over into that? Yeah, hey, we won, so we're going to build off that, build some confidence, but it's going to get a lot tougher once we get into the league. So we got to get some guys healthy and then go from there and put up a good fight next Friday. Coach, thanks for this. Congratulations on the win. Appreciate you. Thanks. You could tell, right, John, when I asked him about his son, little pause there, and a devastating blow. But they get the win, and hopefully the recovery will be speedy for Ty, and maybe he comes back this season. But if he does, it's not going to be till late. If not, he's got his senior year ahead of him. Yeah, it's tough. It's never easy as a parent to see your kid go down, and as you said, to handle that with the grace that he did, realizing that there's still a game going on, and seeing
Ty on the sideline as we had the photo of him, and I'll put it up again, of him on crutches. I mean, as a parent, that has to just absolutely break your heart to see your son that, as you said, an early candidate for Stark County Player of the Year. He's on a short list of guys right now that were, making a strong case for themselves early in the year. And to see him go down, the big question becomes now, Kenny, is, as we said, like, who fills those shoes moving forward? Can someone fill those shoes moving forward? And that's the tough part. You have a guy that's such a monster of a player like Ty was. It's hard to try to find who that guy is that's going to enter the game. And Davis Matson last night comes in, and I think he sets a tone as a guy that says, hey, I dealt with an appendectomy 2 weeks ago. I was open on the operating table, and now I'm back and rushing for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a tone setter for that team, and hopefully they build on that.
Well, he took the mantle last night, right? He said, it's going to be me, and so I'll fill the shoes at least for this game, and then we'll figure other things out as the season goes on. But I have a feeling Davis Matson will definitely be, the go-to guy running the football now for Lake. Why don't we get to our first guest, John? Go ahead.
Yeah, lucky to have our first guest on the Huddle here and get the show started in the right way with the 2-1 Tuslaw Mustangs and head coach Brock Dial, who joins us along with a pair of players in Nate Eberhardt and their quarterback Ethan Hare. And Coach, thanks for joining the Huddle this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Coach, 2-1 after a tough loss to start the season. You guys lose 3-0 week 1 to Smithville. What kind of tone did that set for you then for the weeks moving forward that's allowed you guys to take these big steps in weeks 2 and 3?
Yeah, I think that first week was a tough loss for our kids being that close. I think they got some confidence. Smithville's a really good team last year. I think they're going to be a really good team this year. They're really just kind of using it as a building block of what we could continue to get better. And I thought our kids the last 2 weeks have continued to get better at football.
Coach, to start a season with a shutout loss, right? And a game you could have won, right? But to bounce back and get 2 wins in a row, and I'm looking at the numbers that you guys put, 43 points, yesterday. What changed from week 1 offensively into week 2 and especially into week 3 with the offense?
I think really it's been up front. Our offensive line have continued to work hard, really trying to get that hat-on-hat mentality, and really just kind of shaking up a few things there. But those kids have continued to work hard and get better.
When it comes to moving forward and building on this, Coach, what are the keys for Tuslaw to compete going into the Pac-7, which is always going to be tough?
Yeah, we play in a great league, a lot of great teams in the Pac. And really for us, it's focusing on ourselves and really learning our jobs and our roles and playing to the best of our ability. You really won't hear us talk much about the other teams. It's really about us and what we control. And I think we can be a really good football team, dangerous football team, if we take care of business.
Coach, how happy are you with the progress from week 1 to week 2 to week 3? We always hear about how, from week 2 to week 3, there's so many big steps that are usually taken if you're going to have a positive season. Well, it looks like you're going to have a positive, good season.
Yeah, absolutely. I know from an offensive perspective, I feel like we got better from week 2 to week 3, consistency-wise. That was good to see. But as a coach, you're never really ever happy. You want to continue to see the progress and continue to see the kids play the best of their ability.
Coach, I know you've got 2 players with you, Ethan Hare and Nate Eberhardt. I think they're sitting next to you at this point. Let's talk with Ethan first. I know he's the senior quarterback of the team. And Ethan, being the senior quarterback, taking those leadership reins, how has that been for you 3 weeks into the season? And what have you been focusing on to help lead the team?
I've just been focusing on helping other players and them helping me. I mean, it's really all about trust and how we can help each other and focus on winning games.
Ethan, from a player's perspective, you lose week 1, 3-0. You don't score. You're the quarterback, right? Hey, it's on your shoulders. I'm supposed to lead the offense and get them in the end zone. How did you not get too down on that performance that it has enabled you to bounce back in weeks 2 and 3, and now you're 2-1 moving forward?
I mean, I really just used it as a learning experience to get better and keep pushing through weeks 2 and 3.
When it comes to the Pac-7, Ethan, we just talked to your coach about that. What is the key for you being the leader of the offense going into the Pac-7 to get your guys in the right mindset?
It's all about working together and teamwork, trusting each other and believing ourselves in what we can do.
Ethan, I'm looking at your numbers from last night. 14 of 17, pretty efficient. You got to be happy with that. Let's start there, right? You gotta love when you're only off 3 times throwing the ball, right?
Yeah, I mean, it helps having good blocks up front and having great catches with the receivers too. So, yeah.
14 of 17, 90 yards through the air, 3 touchdown passes. You also had 2 TD runs. So I'm curious, as a quarterback, do you get more jacked up when you throw a touchdown pass or when you carry the mail into the end zone yourself?
I think it's when I run because I got my offensive line up front, setting up some nice blocks, and it's just really all coming together. So,
Kenny, I know we've also got Nate Eberhardt with us as part of the Tuslaw Mustangs, along with Coach Dial. And Nate, you're a running back, linebacker. You're kind of the anchor of that Tuslaw defense. Week 1, you guys hold the opponent to 3 points, and you guys come up short. How do you guys build on that mindset then, knowing that elite level that you played in week 1 to continue to put out performances like that?
Defensively, our line's been doing really well, holding their gaps, and my other 2 linebackers that are with me have been flowing really well and making a lot of tackles with me.
I'm curious on the offensive side of the ball, Nate. 27 carries, 5 receptions. That's 32 touches in a game. How you feeling this morning after being the featured guy in that offense?
I don't think there's too much of a beating because my line was setting up great blocks and I was doing everything that I could, working around them.
Nate, in the past couple of years, Tuslaw has not had a winning season in some time. You and Ethan being seniors, what do you guys hope to set as the tone of Tuslaw football to hopefully change that this season?
We want the younger kids to look up to us, and we always want to make sure that they're getting better and to carry on that we can make a great program here at Tuslaw.
2-1 after 3 games. Are you a goal setter, Nate? Did you have individual goals, team goals before the season started? I'm just curious.
I think everybody has goals that they want to achieve, but it's that we all got to work hard towards those goals and really just keep getting after it.
So are you slightly maybe ahead of your individual goals and your team goals, or right where you thought you'd be putting up numbers like you did yesterday and also having 2 wins as a team?
I think I'm right where I'm at because of my team.
Coach Brock Dial will bring you back in, and I kind of want to echo the same question that Kenny just had. We lost Brock for a moment there. I don't know where he went. We apparently lost them. Hey, that's the love of live. There it is. There he is. He's back.
Not a
Coach Dial. Coach Dial, I wanted to echo what, hey, that's the love of what we do, a live program here. We give people we fumble the ball sometimes too. You know, Coach Dial, when it comes to setting those goals, Kenny just talked about that. For you, I know you're a goal setter from your time at Dalton. What have been your goals? And year 2, what are those goals and how are they different from year 1?
No, our goals are the same every year. We want to win the pack. We want to make the playoffs. We want to beat the team south of us, win the region, win a state championship. Those are goals that we're working towards.
Kenny, did you hear that? He didn't even say fairless.
Yeah.
He said beat the team south of us.
He knows. It's like that team up north, right, Coach?
Absolutely.
For you, though, Coach, how happy are you where you're at this point now coaching there at Tuslaw?
I love it here. It's been a really great fit. I think we have a really great administration that wants to turn things around. I think we got really great kids that want to turn things around, and they're hungry to learn and get better. I think we got kids that are really want to go prove themselves this year. That's a great thing in the game of football.
Coach Brock Dial, Ethan Hare, senior quarterback, and Nate Eberhardt, the senior running back and linebacker. Guys, thanks for joining us. 2-1 on the year. Coach, congrats on the fast start, and we will see you guys down the line. Thanks for joining the Saturday morning huddle.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Take care.
Good start for them, man. Gotta love it. Tuslaw, they're 2-1, and they've got 2 kids there on both sides of the ball, right? Hare is the quarterback, running it, throwing it, and Eberhardt running it and hitting people on the defensive side of the ball and doing a great job as they get that win over Coldwell yesterday. 43-20 was the final.
Well, and it's a team too, Ken, that, coming into the year, we kind of had them pegged as being a program that could be maybe a surprise or maybe even just where people thought they would be. And, Ethan and Nate are two great leaders for that team. And the fact that they're 2-1, the real question though becomes now the Pac-7, as far as small conferences go in the state of Ohio, it does not get the love it deserves. And it is a meat grinder of a schedule for them the rest of the year. So we hope that they can continue to build on that, knowing that the road gets tougher. Speaking of teams that have started 2-1 on the year and have some stars across the field and are trying to kind of change the tone this year, we've got a team and a coach and a player right now in Coach Tim Goodman for Alliance and his senior quarterback in J.R. Jackson joining us. And guys, 2-1 on the year, Coach Goodman. JR, thanks for joining the Saturday morning huddle.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Coach, congratulations. You get the win yesterday. Final score 46-13 over Streetsboro. I've got so many questions for you pertaining to this game, and I want to start with, how were you able to get your team to bounce back? Because we did your game last week. I didn't get a chance to talk to you because Louisville ended up doing a number on you guys. So for your team to bounce back in convincing fashion this week, what was practice like this week, and how were you able to get them to turn it around?
Yeah, we had a good week of practice, and the credit goes to guys like JR and our senior captains and our seniors for setting the tone. I keep saying this, an old line, but we went through a lot of lessons last year being a young team, and they learned a lot on, it's a season. It's not one game that makes or break it. It's a season and how you handle those setbacks. And every coach will tell you that you learn way more from your losses than you do your wins. I think that was true. We learned a lot from our Louisville loss and how to handle those big games and critical moments. And when you play a good team, how you have to approach the game and then what you need to do when you're in that game. So credit to these guys for taking those messages and learning and coming out and playing a heck of a football game last night against a really good team.
Yeah, John, I want to follow up real quick on that
Sure.
because the last couple of years you haven't had much luck against Streetsboro. So again, to have them after what happened last week, you've got to be thrilled this morning.
Oh, yeah, it was a huge win for us. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I did not expect that outcome, if I'm being honest with you. I thought it was going to be a really good football game between two really good teams, and they are a really good team. They're going to win a lot of games this year. And our kids just shut up, and we executed in all facets of the game. So, yeah, it was really good, especially how we lost there a couple of years ago, being up 2 scores with 10 minutes to go and couldn't get an onside kick. And so we kind of went and avenged those guys. So we were happy for that.
JR, when you try to take that next step as a program, how does that change your approach as the leader?
We just got to get on, guys. I mean, it feels like our team's more on board. We're trusting each other. We're all doing our 111, so that's great.
JR, I'm looking at your numbers from last night. 238 passing, 3 touchdowns, another 83 on the ground, and a touchdown there. What was working offensively for you guys as far as the game plan going in and then the execution?
Once we establish a good run game, it's hard for teams to stop us because we have some really good receivers across the board. I mean, and I just trust my guys. Sometimes it's a 50-50 ball, and I know they're going to make the play.
Coach Goodman, a kid like JR, he's not just the star here. He's the star on the basketball floor for Chet Harper. I mean, he's the guy that, end of the game, Chet puts the ball in his hands. Do you feel the same way about him on the football field?
Oh, yeah. That's why we made that move, putting him back at quarterback last year, because you want your best player to have the ball in his hands at all times because he's going to make good things happen. And he's been a guy like that. I got here, he was an 8th grader, and he's been making plays since he was an 8th grade quarterback all the way up through. He played first as a sophomore, and we trust him in those moments. And, that's what's great about multi-sport athletes. They get in those competition. They're playing in district final games. They're playing in playoff football games. So they get that big-time competition. So when the light's on, they're not going to shy away from it.
Coach, let's go back to that point because for a while you didn't have to worry about quarterback, right? You had a Division I kid in Brendan Zerbrug, and then last year things aren't going well, and you make the switch. What triggered that switch last year? And you look like a genius for making that move. And JR's making you look like a genius.
Yeah, I could argue I was not a genius for making the move a little too late. But no, I mean, like I said, when you got a guy like this who's proven himself year after year after year, and that's what's nice. All these guys have played together since they were in 2nd and 3rd grade. So that chemistry is there. He's talking about his receivers. They know how they play off each other. So just getting back to that, letting him make plays and using that chemistry that he's developed with his receivers, it definitely makes my job as a play caller easier when you got a guy back like that at quarterback.
Yeah, JR, where does that comfort come from for you late in the game on the line, whether it's on the hardwood, on the gridiron, and you just seem to be at a calm place? Where does that come from for you?
I'll just say it's focus, practice, repetition. Just like even with basketball, I get a lot of shots up after school, then go to football practice, stay mentally locked in.
Coach, how nice is it to have what sounds like another coach on the field there? Very calm, understands the game, handles the pressure. That's got to make your job easier, right?
No, you're 100% right. He is an extra coach on the field, and that's one of the things I like most about this kid. When he comes out of the game like last night, a lot of the varsity guys like to go back and sit on the bench and be, Joe Cool. JR was standing right behind the coaches, coaching up our younger guys. He's been helping with the freshman players on the whiteboard with them. There was one play I remember during our scrimmage, he's out at quarterback. He comes up to me and says, "Hey, tell the JV quarterback to make sure those receivers are set." So that's the kind of leader he is. And those are the things everybody sees his accolades and they see all that stuff, but they don't see how great of a kid he is. And how, like you said, he's an extra coach and a leader for us.
JR, you see your guys messing around on the bench maybe after you score. Why decide to be that guy? Why decide to write on the whiteboard and take those steps?
I mean, yeah, just build a program. This is my last year. I need the kids coming up to try to do what we're doing this year.
Coach Goodman, the EBC is still a little ways off for you. I mean, you've got it coming up here in a couple weeks, but knowing that that's on the horizon and kind of seeing that things are shaking up a little bit this year with Minerva getting a little bit better and always West Branch is tough. How do you get the program ready for knowing that that's going to be the stretch run for you guys?
Yeah, we do with our out-of-season schedule. I mean, we don't play an easy schedule these first 3 weeks. You look at Padua, who's been in the regional final the past 2 or 3 years. Louisville, who's got it rolling right now. They're 3-0, and Coach Cap's doing a great job with those. And they got 2 Division I linemen. And then we go against Streetsboro, who's been undefeated the past couple of years, and they had 2 Division I linemen. We don't play a cupcake schedule, and we think that's going to pay off for us as we get into the EBC.
So, Coach, how do you carry this momentum now moving forward into week 4?
Yeah, that's what we just talked about just right before we get on here, is just making sure we stay focused, that we don't let, a week 3 win be our Super Bowl, and that we approach next week with the same mindset we had this week, that we worry about ourselves. We get better Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we go hit on all cylinders on Friday. If we keep doing that day after day after day, I think we'll be in a good spot when we hit that EBC play that you guys were referring to.
Coach, it seemed like last year you guys really hit that stride by maybe week 8 or week 9. When do you want to hit that stride this year? What's the perfect time to hit that stride for this team?
Right now. We don't got time to wait. So right now is the time to hit that stride. Like I said, if you're the same team in week 9 that you were in week 4, you aren't a very good team in week 9. So we want to keep getting better day after day and keep, like I said, take it to another level. And then the next week, take it to another level. And the next week, another level. So that way, when you're in those big games against those teams for, EBC championship rights, or you're in the playoffs, that you're playing your best football.
Coach and JR, congrats on the huge win and best of luck moving forward. Look forward to having you back on the Huddle.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having us on.
John, that's a great win for those guys yesterday, isn't it? I mean, to bounce back after the Louisville loss and then to beat Streetsboro, it's huge.
It is, Kenny, and I'm glad that Frankie has entered the Saturday morning huddle this morning. He's saying Alliance needs to hit their stride now.
Of course. You're taping a show, you're doing a live show or taping it, and that's when the dog decides he's got to bark at everything that moves. But it's great, and he's given some love to the Aviators for taking care of Streetsboro yesterday, 46-13.
He is. He's a big Aviators fan. You didn't know that about Frankie. So we're going to move on to our next coach. We've got them rapid fire coming in this morning, and it's another 2-1 program, and it's another team that I don't know what people expected for a first-year head coach like Zach Slate's entering the year, but we all knew that my Greek brethren would take some great things down to Minerva. And Coach Slate's, congratulations. First time since 2013 that Minerva is above 500. Thanks for joining the Huddle, and congratulations on that. That has to feel just amazing for that program, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything about the program, the community, they've been great. The administration, the kids have really bought in, and I owe it all to them for having trust in me and believing in me and the program and what we're trying to get accomplished, and just taking it in stride.
Coach, you said something last week when you were on the Huddle that you were disappointed with the week 1 loss and you got shut out. And some people might have looked at that and said, wait a second, what's he mean that he felt he should have won that game? But then you bounced back with 2 more wins. So obviously you didn't look as crazy maybe as some people thought you sounded when you said that. Why did you believe, even after that week 1 shutout loss, that these next 2 games were winnable games and you went out and did it?
Yeah, I mean, the kids, they played a little nervous week 1 and hesitant to start off, and then when you don't get it going to start the game, it's hard to get back into it. Through 3 weeks, we've only given up 105 yards passing total. So I mean, our defense has played really good. I mean, we gave up some big plays on the run week 1, but yeah, our kids have been resilient that way and have been playing for the next play and not thinking in the past, and they haven't worried about week 1 since Friday of the week 1. And that's what I keep telling them, and they keep buying into that and moving to the next play. And bad things happen in football, and if you don't understand going to the next play, it's going to haunt you for 5 or 6 plays.
Nate,
the lights just turned.
How about that? How about that? Lights just went out. They didn't put any movement in the room. Nate Linkus also joins us from Minerva, and Nate, for you, being 2-1, a team that last year you guys were 0-3, the year before that you were 0-3. How does this feel so much different and so much better?
It feels a lot better. I feel like our communication with each other is so much better. I feel like we play the next down. Even if something bad happens, it's always the next play. We get out of our head. Come on, we got to make this play count.
Coach, what's he bring to your offense? Why is he a good fit for that wing tee?
Yeah, I mean, he's playing tailback for us, and we run the jet and we run the buck sweep, and he brings an explosion to the field. So once he gets running in north and south and he gets some open space, he's dangerous. And he showed that last night. He had a 50-yard touchdown run and some other good runs, 20-yarder earlier in the game. So just having that explosive factor and a playmaker that can do some things like that is always great. And we to counterpart that with Timmy Kirkpatrick, who is a bruising fullback and runs north and south and gets his pad levels down. They complement each other well.
Nate, for you, last year it wasn't the wing tee. It hasn't been the wing tee for you guys at Minerva. Why has it worked so well, and what do you enjoy about being in it?
I feel like we have kids playing their role and not doing more than what they actually can do. And I feel like the role that I'm given right now, it kind of like holds me high up. I got to get on my boys about the right things they have to do, and I just feel like the communication is there.
Coach, I'm curious. Teams that have played Minerva in the past, they didn't see the wing tee. Now they're seeing the wing tee maybe for the first time. How much of an advantage is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, it could be an advantage or a disadvantage because from my end, it's tough to see what they're going to be lining up in defensively against us because we see very few teams with tight ends now. So game planning, getting things ready for the week is a little tricky, especially because we haven't played them. So we can't look at years past. And if we don't see them against at least the tight end team, it's tough for us to tell where they're going to be lined up sometimes. So, but again, it gives us the benefit that misdirection and pulling guards and things like that. And they're not on their game that way, and they don't. It's hard to get a good look on the scout team, regardless of the offense you're going against. And especially when we have the wing tee, it can pose a problem for people getting their scout team lined up correctly, doing the right things that way to prepare them for the game on Friday.
Coach, why does the wing tee work so well for this group? What has it done to maybe simplify the game, change the game? Why does it seem to be that 3 weeks through the season, a program that had been struggling understands this offense so well, and they're putting up points that they haven't put up in years?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we're trying to keep it as basic as possible and do a few tweaks here and there to show some different things. And the kids just bought into it and they trust what we're doing. And yeah, I mean, we spread the ball around. I mean, we had 5 guys carried the ball last night. They had actually threw a touchdown pass last week in our game week 2, a tailback pass. So just getting those guys to understand and buy into the team part of it. Last week, Timmy ran for 235 yards or whatever it was, and Nate comes off to the side. He goes, "Keep running a certain play," and he was blocking. He goes, "I'm getting to him every time. I'm blocking him every time," and that's the kind of buy-in that you look for out of kids, and hope to see that they're going to be blocking for each other and not just worry about why am I not getting the ball. And with 3 running backs, it's tough sometimes for those kids.
Right.
Yeah, Kenny, if I can follow up on that with Nate. I mean, I know so often because I've talked to Zach for years. The wing T is not the like sexy shotgun offense where it's like, hey, we're going to throw you the ball here because it's designed for you. Nate, a lot of times the play is designed for you to block your ass off. And I know the coaches would tell you that. What does it mean to know that that's the case for it, that you need to do that?
Because I know like my brothers have a chance to make plays because I feel like everything isn't just on me. Everything doesn't revolve around me. We have other playmakers on the team like Tim Kirkpatrick and Owen Shig. Like we have guys like that can make plays. So I got to hold my part and block for them because they would do the same thing for me.
Coach, how do you take this momentum, right? 2-1 start and move it into week 4? Because I saw a quote in the paper this morning. You didn't come here to win 2 games. We're on to the next game. You're looking out the windshield, not the rear view mirror. So how do you carry this into next week?
Yeah, I mean, and next week we got Sandy Valley, and they're going to be ready to go. I mean, they want to get after it, and I know Brian from my playing time in high school, so they're gonna be wanting to get after it, and they want to get a win too, and we just got to find ways to continue to motivate these guys to it's not enough, and these guys are hungry for success, and they're hungry to get better, and that's been one of the biggest things is that they've seen it pay off, so they're going to be bought in, and they want to get better, and they want to continue this, and they don't want it to just be a 1 or 2 week thing. So they're hungry for success, and they're seeing it right now early, so that's good. They're seeing it pay off, so they're going to be more willing to do what we're asking them to do moving forward.
Coach, the other thing I'm curious about is getting kids to buy in to an offense that very rarely throws the ball. You only threw it 3 times last night. You didn't complete any of them, and yet you won 34-0, and you racked up 351 yards of offense. How do you get through to them that it might be a shock to the system, but it can work, and it is working?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they've seen it. They've seen the effects of it. Our skill guys on the outside that we throw to, they've seen that they can come open. And we're playing a young quarterback. We're playing a receiver that hasn't played football since 7th grade, and they'll get on the same page. They'll get there. I'm not. I mean, we'll get there with the passing stuff. So they have continued to buy into doing their job to make the team better, and it's not a selfish play. And these guys have been great with the not worrying about being selfish, not worrying about what they're getting the ball, what their stats are. They're worried about the team and us improving as a group.
I got one more question for Nate Linkus that I want to ask. Nate, the last time that Minerva was 2-1, it was 2013. I want to put that into perspective for people. How old were you in 2013?
I want to say 12.
That was 12 years ago. So how old are you now?
18. So my math a little bit off. You know, I'm still a little dinged up from yesterday. So everything isn't clicking right now.
6 years old.
Wow.
I mean, that's how long ago it was, Nate. That's why it's so crazy. You probably wait. I was 6 when the last time we got off to a start like that. That's how crazy. You were what, 1st grade, kindergarten? That's nuts, isn't it, Nate?
Yeah, it is. It's a real shocker.
But hey, that's the great part of the start for the season, Coach, that you guys have been able to have, and you know we're so happy for you. I think it's weird. Every year we enter the season, all of us in the media literally are always like, hopefully this is the year for Minerva to turn it around and get off the schneid. And the fact that you guys are 2-1, Nate, we're so happy for you. Coach, we're so happy for you. And we just really hope you guys keep it going. 2-1 on the year and congrats on that. And hey, keep bringing the good times back to Minerva.
Yeah, these kids, this community deserve it, man. They've wanted this for so long, and those guys. I mean, they've had so many 10-0 teams and successful teams, and those guys just want these kids to feel that, and they haven't even been close to that in the last decade. So it's good for them to see these kids find the success, and that they are so happy for these kids. It's unbelievable.
All right, I got one more. We lied, Coach, because we haven't given any love to your defense. 72 total yards they gave up yesterday, and they pitched a shutout. What worked on defense, and what has been working on defense for you?
Yeah, I mean, our kids have learned just to get hats to the ball, and our free safety hasn't made very many tackles because our front seven have done a fantastic job. We've moved some guys around, so they've learned some new positions late in the summer. So it's been good to see them be able to come together and see the success that way. And like I said, I mean, we've given up 103 yards passing total and through 3 games. So Nate and Owen at corners have done a fantastic job stopping that. They've started to understand that they are a couple of the fastest kids in the county, and they understand that their speed, they can catch up to everybody that's going to go deep on them. So learning how to cover those short routes and intermediate routes has been greatly improved, and they're getting more comfortable in the back end. And our front seven guys have just been a fantastic job. And Tim Wolf's done a great job. He came with me over here from Perry, and he's done a fantastic job getting our defense ready, game planning, and getting these guys going.
I know Coach Slate's told me that if he had to go to Minerva, he said, I got to take Wolfie with me. He said, I can't go there without Tim. So
that's right.
Coach, congrats. Nate, congrats. 2-1 on the season. Whole county is pulling for you guys, and hopefully this won't be the last time we'll see you on the Saturday morning huddle. 2 weeks in a row, we've enjoyed it.
Yep. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you.
Hopa.
There we go.
Hey, gyros. I'm bringing gyros next time. You and me, we're going to eat baklava together. We're going to introduce Kenny to baklava.
Sounds good.
As long as I got peppers to wash it down with, Coach, I'm good, all right?
See you guys. Congrats. Yeah. 2-1, Kenny. I think about something Zach said there, and he said, you've got all the 10-0 seasons, and I've done so many basketball games at Minerva over the years, and when you walk the halls, you see the teams down through the years that were 10-0, that went 9-1, that won the NBC, won the Senate League, won these different conferences that they were part of over the years. And you talk to anybody that's from Minerva, and the first thing they always talk about is the football team. It's never the other sports, even though the other sports have had their success. Right. That city, that place wants a winning football team so badly. And for them to be 2-1, it's the feel-good story of the county so far this year. And you and I were talking before saying we got to get down there for a game. We want to see, you see pictures from the game last night, and the place looked packed. They haven't won games for years, and the place was packed, just ready and raring to go for an opportunity like this.
No question. I looked it up. Last time the Lions won more than 2 games in a season, 2014. Last time the Lions shut out somebody, 2014. Last time the Lions won more than 2 games, in a row, 2013. So they're doing things they haven't done for over 10 years, and a lot of that is attributed to Coach Zach Slates.
And Nate Linkus, who was 6 years old the last time.
Yeah.
He had such a hard time remembering. He was like, gosh, I don't even know how old I was. That's been forever ago.
Great job by Zach in getting those kids to buy into, that offense. It's huge.
Kenny, one thing that we need to do here, because we can't do this without them, and that's our sponsors that we have as part of the Saturday morning huddle. And we've added some this year. We still have, of course, Marianne Donuts for our sweet play of the week, which we're going to get to later on. And, of course, our Community One Credit Union player of the week. But we also added Ty Colucci and the folks over at DeHoff Realtors. Again, dhoff.com if you would like to, and you can reach him at the email that's on the screen now. He's always helpful when it comes to buying or selling a home, and he knows that can be a tough process, but he's got 15 years of experience here in the community, and he's a guy that you can really rely on when it comes to buying or selling your home. I love getting into discussions with him about real estate. He's so knowledgeable and knows everything that comes with it, and he's a great guy. Great to have him on. And then also Dirty Hands Excavating and Restoration LLC with Brandon Carl and the folks down in the Brewster area, was talking to him about the excitement of the start of the year for Fairless and how they're 2-1 on the year. And I know he's so excited about his son Cam, who's gotten off to a great start down at Fairless for Coach AJ Sarbaugh. And we thank both of those sponsors in addition to our others. Akron Auto Auction. I know Chad Bailey just joined your show the other day and stopped by, I think, with his Miami Hurricanes hat on again, didn't he?
Well, he's a diehard Miami Hurricanes fan, and so he loves talking Hurricanes, but college football, Jackson High School football, and so AkronAutoAuction.com is where you need – if you've never been to an auto auction, go to their website, check it out, get all the details, and if you're looking for a vehicle – you can go to the auction and bid on a vehicle, and maybe you'll be the one driving it home that day. So thanks to Chad Bailey and AkronAutoAuction.com. It's not only for dealers, it's for Joe Public too. So and Susie Public. All right, Joe and Susie, you can go there and get your vehicles.
Well done on your part there.
Thank you. Try.
Yeah, auto auctions have all types of folks. Hey, I want to play some highlights last night from our YouTube game. And take a look at these. It was Louisville against Northwest last night. And Kenny, I know you saw Louisville, but kind of more of the same here with some of these highlights. Impressive defensive efforts and pretty cool interceptions here by some of the different folks in the back end. I know Luke Seaman had a key interception late. Gabe Stouffer had a key one here. But, hey, give Coach Cap credit. They're off to a great start, Kenny.
Yeah, they are. They're a perfect 3-0 on the year, and this was a low-scoring defensive struggle. Louisville wins it 10-3 over Northwest. Louisville, obviously, in the blue. And kudos to Coach Kappas for building this team with the defensive line and the offensive line. All right, and then you get the breakaway speed there from Owen Wilson, a 67-yard touchdown run, and he's done such a great job in putting this team together, building it from the inside out. And you always hear defense wins you championships. Well, it secured that win last night with that interception from Luke Seaman. So a perfect 3-0 start for the Leopards. Northwest falls to 1-1, a tough loss for them yesterday, but great to see Louisville doing some very exciting things this year.
Yeah, and first time since John DeMarco was actually the head coach at Louisville in 2013 that they're off to a 3-0 start. So lots of interesting storylines across the county from last night, and obviously we're really happy for Coach Cap and Leopard Nation for getting off to that start. They had the ring ceremony too last night for the basketball team, so they were like, well, we can't follow up the most successful story in the last year in Louisville with a loss tonight, so they had to get a win, and they were able to do that in a low-scoring defensive game. And I know that we've got one more guest that's making his way to the huddle. Spider Miller, I see him in the chat right now. Okay, he's got his computer up now for us as well. So we're gonna get Spider and Owen McCroskey. Coach, I'm so thankful that you and Owen were able to join the podcast. It is the podcast. Join the huddle this morning as part of our Saturday morning show. Congrats to you guys last night. A 47-27 win over Sandy Valley. An impressive start to the season at 3-0. Coach, congrats on the start. Tell us about the win last night and just what this means to start 3-0.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I think somebody said it's been since 2005 that an East Canton team has gone 3-0, and it's a great way to start the season, obviously. And our kids are playing hard on both sides of the ball and special teams, and there's a lot of things we still need to correct, but we're getting better.
Coach, I couldn't tell what type of season you were going to have when we talked with you at the banquet, right? I was trying, okay, I listened to him. All right, I'm not sure yet. I need to see what's happening on the field. Well, you're off to a 3-0 start. What were your expectations for this team going into the year? And maybe have they exceeded them at this point?
Well, our kids have worked hard, and the big thing is in the off season, in the weight room, our kids really dedicated themselves, all through the off season and getting in shape and getting stronger, and it's paying off. You always hope to be, 1, 2, and 3-0, and our kids have lived up to their hype. And you know what? We got a great group of kids. We don't have a lot, but you know what? They play hard, and we got kids that are back, like Owen here, and what a great job he did last night, the poise he showed on the field, and along with a lot of the other kids.
Yeah, I actually want to see, guys, can you see these highlights that we're rolling right now? We've got these from last night. And if you can see these, I want you to kind of take me through some of these plays.
This one's just nice little boot out, and then, this is just a nice little read option, just making the read, pulling it.
Yeah, this run though, Owen, I mean, this pretty great play here. This had to feel good for you, didn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I was just trying not to get caught.
Coach, for you, seeing the energy out of Owen at the quarterback position, the plays he's able to make, what does he bring to the offense and what does he bring to the team?
Well, it makes life easier on us offensive people because he can, he's running the offense. I mean, he's a 4-year letterman, and he's doing things that he's supposed to be doing. And like I said, being a leader on the field and leading by example as well.
Coach, those 4 years, right? This is year number 4. Maybe a little rough in the early going, but the experience that he gained, it's paying off this year, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And the other kids are feeding off of it. And, Owen's not alone. There's 10 other guys out there trying to do the best that they can. And we've made some really nice plays. There's some things that obviously we got to correct. You can't have 19 penalties in a game. We weren't real happy about that. Made that known today during films. And, obviously we got to get better. It's not going to get any easier down the road here. So, just stay focused on the task in hand, and let's play hard this week at practice and get healthy and see what we can do Friday night.
Owen McCroskey also joining us here, the senior quarterback for East Canton, as well as Spider Miller, their head coach. Owen, last night, 20 of 27, 214 yards, plus 132 on the ground, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. It's a pretty good night, right?
Yeah, I'd have to say that's a highlight night for him.
Owen, what was working so well for you last night? What allowed you to make those plays?
Our coaches kind of showed me what I was going to see throughout the week on film and stuff. So actually being on the field, seeing all that made it a lot easier, just like knowing my spots and knowing what I wanted. And then last year the game against them didn't go our way. So just a lot of fire going into this one, wanting to get that back. So
I would say they hung 55 on you guys at your place last year. Was that in the back of the mind this year, Owen?
Not in a bad way. I say it more as motivation, wanting to get that back. But yeah, it's been there for a while.
Coach, he says it's not. Yeah, go ahead.
Coach, could you tell that they wanted this one maybe a little bit more based on what happened last year?
I know that was in the back of their mind, and we kind of reminded them, but then we let it go. That was last year, and the wheels kind of fell off last year. But, they came in prepared, our kids, offensively and defensively, and, we took advantage of some things that we thought we could. And, Sandy Valley, I know they're 0-3, but they're a good football team, and they've played some tough teams the last 3 weeks, and they'll get it back on track.
Coach, this team, this unit, 27 guys you told us earlier this year, what's allowed them to take this big a step this year? Because 27 guys, you still don't have a ton of seniors. What's allowed you guys to take that big a step in 1 year?
I think taking ownership of their positions and being accountable as players, and being here and getting better every day at practice, and taking on, listening to the coaches and trying to be a better football player. We try to put them in the best position that we can to be successful, and hopefully we're doing a good job of that. And but like I said, we need to fix some things, and we need to fix them starting Monday.
Yeah, Owen, he mentioned that the 19 penalties. I guess what you can tell us here on the huddle, what did Coach Spider say to you guys this morning about the 19 penalties, about cleaning that up?
I can't say exactly what he said, but he just said that like that just can't happen. Like we were kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, pretty much, just kind of killing our momentum a little bit.
I mean, to overcome that though,
right,
and still score 47 points, Owen, what does that say about this team?
I mean, it's just in the huddle, just like whoever made the mistake, just telling them like move on, like that play's over with. Like especially the line. The line was pretty hard on himself last night, but like, I mean, everyone's going to make the mistake. You just got to move on from it. And that's what the coaches tell us all week. Next play mentality, good or bad. So just got to move on from it.
Here's what I'm impressed with, guys. Last week we had Spider on. He was on his phone in a car. He has figured out how to do it on a computer with his quarterback sitting right next to him. So you talk about progress.
He's smart. He knows how to do all this stuff.
I'm loving the progress you're making, though, Coach, from week to week here on the Saturday Morning Huddle.
Don't count on it every week.
Coach, where's the 16 millimeter film? You said you were going to bring that
in my closet at home.
Yeah. Hey, when you look at this, right? This team at 3-0, Coach. It builds not only confidence but camaraderie, right? And that togetherness that is so important when we talk about culture, doesn't it?
Well, I think sure it does. The togetherness between the players and the coaches together. It's all about trusting each other. Trust us, we trust them, and like I said, we fix some things today in films, and we got to fix more. We got to just continue to get better.
Coach Spider Miller and Owen McCroskey are two folks from East Canton joining us, 3-0 on the year. First time since 2005. Dan Patterson, the head coach. Kenny, you have something to say?
Well, we might as well let the cat out of the bag on our one credit union player of the week, right, John? Because nobody did it better this week than Owen McCroskey. His numbers impressive. A heck of an effort for Owen. John, you did the game. You take it from here and tell everybody why we picked him.
Yeah, I mean, 20 of 27, 214 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. I believe to 2 different targets. James Stubblefield caught one. Aiden Stevens caught the other 2 for them. And then, of course, he ran for 2 touchdowns as well. One from 62 yards that electrified the fans from Osnaburg Township. And then a shorter one that was still pretty impressive. He did his best John Elway impression on it, kind of leaping himself into the end zone over some different players. But yes, he is well deserving of our Community One Credit Union Player of the Week. Owen, we have a text chain going with our sports guys here at the station, and every week we kind of go back and forth who should be the Player of the Week. And the second we texted your stats to the group last night, it was literally one after the other. Owen. That night, getting this honor, being the Player of the Week, how does that feel for you?
I mean, it's a good feeling, but it's not just me. It's the other guys, the linemen, the receivers, whoever else is out there with us, and then obviously the coaches preparing me and the team all week. Like, it's not just a one-man show. It's the team.
You gotta like hearing that, right, Coach?
True leader right here.
Yeah. No doubt. Hey, congratulations on the great start on the Player of the Week award. Continued success to both of you guys, and we look forward to having you back on the Huddle sometime throughout the year, all right?
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Have a
Coach.
good day.
Thanks, Owen.
Yeah.
Kenny, I want to say, too, about Owen McCroskey, we got one more thing involving him that we got to get to, but I do want to say, he's another kid just like J.R. Jackson. J.R. is the leading basketball player, the leading scorer for Coach Chet Harper. Ryan McGonigal last year, the East Canton basketball coach. Owen McCroskey, a 16-point average as a junior on the basketball floor as well. So he's the type of kid that, George and I, my dad, we were talking about it on the broadcast last night, that it just seems like the moment, it's weird for me to call him George, by the way, that the moment is never too big for him. The biggest stat that stood out to me, Kenny, entering that game, and I know you talk so much about big moments, big plays in games. You always talk about the FIPS, but to me, a huge thing in winning games is third down conversions.
Right.
East Canton entering last night was converting 67% of the time on third down, which is just really impressive no matter who you are. And every time there was a third down, with the exception of one where he basically threw a punterception, if you will, and threw it, and Gino Tosi made a great play for Sandy Valley, they converted every single time, it seemed like, and it was because of Owen. He would settle the troops, he would come in, he would make a big throw, make a big run. And if you can do those things and have a quarterback leading you doing that, that's such a huge thing in high school football. And not every team is going to have an Owen McCroskey.
No, so you take advantage of it, right? As we talked with Spider Miller there, you live through the bumps and bruises and the tough times, in freshman, sophomore years. You hope they get better by junior year, and then being the leader like he is as a senior now, as a 4-year guy. So it's paying off in a big way, and let's continue on. It's the Owen McCroskey show here on the Saturday Morning Huddle, because it's time now for our Marianne Donuts Sweet Play of the Week. And before we get to the play, look at you going out to Marianne Donuts and showing everybody how delicious these things are. And then this was delicious as well. Owen McCroskey with the keeper, makes one man miss, gets to the outside, turns on the afterburners, down the left sideline. Another man misses, and into the end zone, rolls in for the touchdown. And our Marianne Donuts Sweet Play of the Week. And that was pretty sweet, John.
It was a great play by him, and so thankful for the folks on Tusk at the Marianne Donuts location the other day for letting me stop out. They gave me some fresh coffee and a dozen donuts to bring back to the station. This run by Owen McCroskey, though, he fakes it there to Dylan Anderson, the running back, who actually ran for almost 150 yards last night in his own right, and then he makes the great play running down the left sideline. Just a really, really impressive play by Owen McCroskey, and he faked me out. It's not very often that I get faked out on a play, Kenny, but I was at a point there where I was completely faked out. I thought the play was going right, and then in the middle of the play, I was like, oh, Owen has the ball, and then I was like, he's running left, and he's down the sideline. So it was really exciting, and I, you sometimes wonder, a team starts 2-0, and they beat up on two teams that they're clearly better than, with Chippewa and Wellsville. You wonder if they're really that real of a 2-0. And I think East Canton last night, they came into that game with an attitude. They came in saying, we're not a fake 2-0. We're here to stay. We've got Aquinas this coming week now. And then week 5, Ridgewood is 3-0 right now, who's also in the IBC. They're 3-0 right now. And both teams have winnable games this week. That trip down to the Coshocton area in week 5 could be a 4-0 against a 4-0, and not just a big Stark County game, but a big statewide game that you're looking at. Maybe the AP poll starts to recognize what East Canton is doing, and they start to get to that point. And it's because of plays like Owen McCroskey last night with our sweet play of the game, which we'll show you the donuts one more time.
Yeah,
we'll show
let
you
me
the play
tell
one more
everybody
time.
about Marianne Donuts. Friday nights, hard hits, big plays, and Marianne Donuts. Nothing says football in Canton like a box of fresh donuts and hot coffee from Marianne's. Pumpkins, football-shaped donuts, and all the favorites that keep fans going strong. Marianne Donuts, Canton's game day tradition since 1947, and that touchdown run definitely deserving of the Marianne Donuts Sweet Play of the Week.
It was, without question. And how about this? 3 weeks in, and week 1, Connor Shepard kind of took home the cake, if you will. He had the sweet play, plus he had the player of the week. We had 2 players of the week 1, from what I remember, too. And then also week 2, Gabe Stouffer takes home everything. He takes home the sweet play, and he takes home the opportunity for the player of the week. This week, it's Owen McCroskey. It's kind of funny how those two tend to run hand in hand, where if it's the player of the week, they probably made the play of the week too, because they probably set the tone for their team. But an interesting week 3, Kenny, a lot that we got to in this hour and 10 minutes that we've been on here. And I'm fascinated 3 weeks into the season. I think a lot of times we don't get times to really talk about what the state is of things. And there's still 2 games today, with Glen Oak playing East Tech coming up here in about 50 minutes on WHBC. You'll be able to hear that. The Freshmark Sugardale Saturday game on the radio. And then tonight, of course, we have the game on YouTube that will be delayed between McKinley and Cleveland Heights. There's also an afternoon game in there on WHBCsports.com. Pittsburgh Central Catholic. Do you know who went to Pittsburgh Central Catholic, Kenny?
I sure do. Dan Marino. I remember it like it was yesterday. And he ends up going to Pitt, and then the Steelers had a chance to draft him after that, and they elected not to, and the rest is history, as they say.
And he's still mad about that till this day.
Very much so.
Dan Marino went to Pittsburgh Central Catholic. They play Woodland Hills, 2 great traditional programs in Western PA, and that'll be our afternoon Friends and Family Credit Union stream game of the week on WHBCsports.com. Kenny, I know you talk about it Monday through Friday with JT, but your thoughts 3 weeks into the season and kind of what stands out to you?
Well, Massillon's 1-2, but they play a tough schedule, right? They lost to a team from Georgia 50-35. When's the last time Massillon gave up 50 points? Now, whether or not it's a good team or not, John, 50 points is a lot. So, Nate, we'll see what they do in the coming weeks. They've got St. Ed's coming up. We're doing that game on WHBC week 5. So the fact that they're 1-2 is surprising. The fact that East Canton is 3-0. Perry, under new head coach Spencer Lino, is 3-0. That's working out for Perry. Well, guess what? It's working out for Minerva as well. They're 2-1 in what Zach Slates has done there. The injuries to Jackson at the quarterback position. Eckerman's back, which is good, but they're off to a 1-2 start, and they have other injuries involving players. So those are some of the early storylines that have my attention, along with Lake and Louisville. Both are 3-0. The L's, right? The Blue L's, Lake and Louisville, 3-0, moving into week 4. Looking forward to see if they can keep that rolling.
Well, and sometimes with a case of Zach Slates and a case of Spencer Lino at Perry, you look at a guy like a Matt Stafford. He was at Detroit for so many years, such a great quarterback. Sometimes a change of scenery just helps just a little bit. 1 year after, he gets traded to the LA Rams. And guess what they do? They win the Super Bowl. Not saying that both teams are going to win a state championship, but hey, 3 weeks into the season, a combined 5-1 for 2 teams last year that I think might have been like 2-4 at this point in the season.
Right. Yeah.
It does change things. Zach gets a fresh start away from his alma mater, not running the wing T at Perry, where Keith Wakefield was known historically to do it so well. He's setting a new tone at Minerva and bringing a wing T offense there, and the kids are flourishing in it. And Spencer Lino, he's opened up the playbook, and he's allowed different athletes to be shown off in a shotgun-heavy offense that has a great bruising back, has some great wide receivers, and defensively, for them to go to Mollenkopf last night and hold Warren to just 15 points, that's really impressive. And hey, 3 weeks into the season, and week 4 already coming up next week of the Saturday morning huddle. Kenny, I can't believe it. And we do want to remind people, you guys will actually be able to watch this again tomorrow on Rock Entertainment Network. I believe it's 11 a.m. on 10 a.m.
I'll tell everybody right now, every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. on Rock Entertainment Sports Network. We will be on at 10, and then they have the Browns tailgate show beginning at 11 o'clock now, since the Browns will start this weekend. So if you miss us on Saturday, fret not. Spectrum Channel 979, RESN, Rock Entertainment Sports Network, 10 a.m. every Sunday morning, the replay.
Buckeye game this week, almost as big as last week, going against Grambling State this week. Browns the focus of this week on Sunday with their opener against the Bengals. You'll be able to hear that on HBC tomorrow as well. Kenny, 3 weeks into the huddle, and we're finally, we didn't have as many fumbles this week. We finally we've got our plays down. We didn't have 19 penalties, so we're not going to get chewed out by Coach Spider Miller.
No,
but,
we're not. But we're happy to be bringing this to everybody here, and happy that we have our sponsors that allow us to do that. That's AkronAutoAuction.com. Check them out. Marianne Donuts, Community One Credit Union, DeHoff Realtor, Ty Colucci, and Dirty Hands Excavating and Restoration. And also, we got to thank Old Carolina Barbecue as we hand out our Player of the Game awards every Friday night that we do all three of our games, and then we give our Player of the Week award courtesy of Community One.
Yeah, just one more time. Again, our Player of the Week, Owen McCroskey, recognize him one more time. And Community One Credit Union, of course, the great folks over there, Heather and the folks at Community One Credit Union, we couldn't do this without them. And Owen's night one more time, 20 of 27, 3 touchdown passes, 214 yards, plus 132 yards on the ground and 2 scores, and a well-deserving honor for Owen McCroskey last night as the East Canton Hornets go to 3-0 on the year. Kenny, it's going to wrap it up.
That's it. We're done. We're good. Week 3 in the books. Looking forward to being back next Saturday for week number 4 of the Saturday Morning Huddle. Should be a lot of fun, John, and can't wait.
Sounds like fun. I'll meet you there.